Three, two, one. What's going on, you guys? My name is Nelson.
I'm Devin.
And welcome back to the Qbox for episode 4. Devin, we're doing it. Episode 4. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. I feel absolutely amazing. This journey is continuing to go the way we want it to. And
yes.
it's exciting. You know, I'm just, again, happy to do it with my best friend.
Yeah,
happy to have these
sure.
conversations. And, you know, I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. And, yeah, we'll go from there.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, definitely. Guys, you know, before we even get started in this conversation, if you guys are new to this podcast, please do us, again, a lovely favor and go ahead and subscribe to us via all social media channels. And if you are listening via Apple Podcasts, please do us a lovely favor and rate us. This will help us a great deal, and we can go ahead and continue to do what we do best. And
absolutely,
it would be absolutely awesome if you could do that for us. So, but other than that, Devin, how are you feeling this week, man?
I'm feeling good. Anytime I get to sit down and have a conversation with my best friend is a beautiful day. You know, and smile and laugh as we always do.
Yeah, so, we do. Yeah, that doesn't stop, man.
that's never going to stop. So it's a good day. And again, another day to uplift, you know, and have some laughs, and again have a great conversation between the both of us. So
definitely. Speaking of that, I think we're gonna at some point we're looking to do a live stream. I know we talked about it last episode. We didn't get around to it this week. Things got a little busy, but you were definitely still planning on doing that. We're just waiting for the right opportunity in terms of time and also, you know, it's the first time doing a live stream, and we want to kind of do it a little bit differently than your traditional go ahead and press Facebook stream live. You know, we want to kind of do it all at the same time, where we have every social media channel running at the same time. So right now we're just working out the kinks, and yeah, once we have it, it should be a no-brainer from there. But yes, you know, what's going on in the news right now? Have you been following it all?
I always follow the news as much as I can. I mean, in this day and age, I mean, with social media, how do you not follow the news? But I guess the biggest thing with social media is trying to cipher through the fake news, because there's a lot of fake news, and there's a lot of real news, and
for sure
you have so many different articles floating around, and then you get you know, family and friends sharing stuff to where you're like, okay, is this real? And sometimes I do have to, if you will, fact check. You know, I might have to do a Google search just to make sure, you know, what I'm reading is actually true, because some stuff I take with a grain of salt. So what about you, brother?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, it's a little bit hard for me to follow what's going on back at home in the United States. You know, it's a little bit different. I get a lot of German news, and but it's interesting. You know, the cool thing about being able to travel worldwide is that you get this opportunity to get a bird's eye view of what's happening from a different perspective of the world. So looking at my home from Germany's point of view is quite interesting, you know. And you know, with this whole COVID situation, it's just been, you know, it's really been a draining process, and
it's ongoing.
Yeah, definitely. And so, yeah, I think I heard on the news, I think Trump he ended up getting COVID.
I did see that.
What the heck
see
happened?
and read about it. So pretty crazy situation.
Definitely.
And I think it just goes back to anyone can catch it. You know, I know I was having a conversation the other day with someone, and you know, in the beginning of all this, you know, there were and I still feel like we're still at that point now. There were so many speculations of who's specifically catching it, what age range is catching it. You know, it's so hard to tell, you know. And I remember at some point it felt like, you know, there was conversations of maybe people that were younger or teenagers weren't able to catch it, but that clearly isn't true either, you know. Because
so how does that work normally? It's like, so like, I think kids are naturally immune to it, I would say.
I'll be honest. Like I'm the first to admit, because to my knowledge, there still seems like a lot of unknown. Obviously, we're waiting for a vaccine, you know, to get to that point where hopefully we can have some normalcy, you know, in the world at some point in time. But right now it is, and we're in flu season, so it's a
that doesn't help anything.
So it's a strange time, but
right.
For all of us, and I say all of us, most people they're continuing to wear a mask. And even for myself, when I'm walking into a store, I'll get out the car and I'm like, oh man, I forgot my damn mask.
I do that all the time.
Sometimes I'll just forget, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to go back and grab my mask real quick. Yeah. I'll see someone else walking in and they'll have their mask on. And that's like a quick reminder.
Yes.
I need my mask.
I did that earlier today.
I was like, I forgot my mask.
I did that earlier today. I'm like walking in really nonchalant, very nonchalantly. And I'm just like, I'm just going to get some fuel for the car. And next thing you know, I walk in and I literally go, stop the brakes and turn right back around. Nope, not doing that. Because the last time I did do that, actually, what ended up happening was I ended up somebody, here in Germany, they'll put you on blast. They don't care. And again, I love Germany, but it just makes you laugh the way things are different,
Yep.
Some places where you go. And so they'll say in German, you need your mask. You need your mask. You got to get your mask. Sorry. There's 95 people in front of you. But they find a way to reach you all the way in the back, and so you feel like a little bit of an idiot. So I kind of want to avoid that,
Yeah, you don't want to be the only idiot without a mask on.
Yeah, but I'm pretty
trying
sure
to check out.
I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one doing that. So
no, not at all, not at all.
Yeah. So what this whole thing with Donald Trump, getting COVID, it should really just at the end of the day raise an awareness somehow to just to be informed and. Just take the proper precautions. There's, according to the news, 200,000 people got killed from this, and that's crazy. If you ask me, that's that's 250,000 people, pretty much.
Yeah, very much so.
And
it's definitely something that doesn't seem like it's going away anytime soon. Let's hope so. So meaning it goes away. So,
yeah, that is going away. Yeah, we got to catch that.
Right.
Let's keep it going, guys.
Right.
Of course not. We didn't mean that. You kidding me? It sounded so terrible. What we just said, we're like, I hope it keeps going. Let's do it. No. But I think it's. I think it just whatever Donald Trump is going through right now. I think we should just use that as a reminder, and so I think we'll be
absolutely
at the end of the day. I think we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. And again, hopefully we get a vaccine soon. That's been conversations for months, but it will come again, and hopefully that will get us back to living normal, as we say, the coin phrase is the new norm. You hear that, you hear that all around the world, and it is a new norm. But I'm positive that we'll get back to hopefully, have that normalcy again. So
yeah, absolutely.
That won't be in 2020. I know that much. So we'll see what 2020.
We're close to the end of the year, so I think definitely not. The chances of that happening are pretty slim. But it doesn't hurt to not be positive or optimistic at the end of the day. So
absolutely,
eventually we shall, just like any other pandemic or issue in the world that's happening that we can't get over. So I think that's going to be fine. So anyway.
Yep. Anyway,
enough about that craziness.
Right, exactly. For now, because obviously when we walk outside, it's always waiting for us. It's like an invisible ghost. We don't know where it's hiding. So
did you feel that?
No. Right, we have no clue.
Yeah, exactly.
But one thing I was going to say, switching, I guess more or less topics, is I am a geek, and when I say geek, tech.
Me
geek,
too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know you're a tech geek too. There is a new iPhone or iPhones coming out. I guess Apple just announced their new event. I say new event, but their launch event on October 13th.
Oh, nice.
So they're launching 4 new phones. There's like different sizes, but cool thing is they're supposed to all go to OLED displays. So,
cool. So what is that exactly?
So OLED is, I can't remember what the O stands for, but basically it's just a higher resolution, so if you ever go buy a TV, we had LED TVs, and then, you'll see where a lot of them have went to OLED. So like Samsung's a big, I guess, provider when it comes to TVs, and actually they actually make, I can't remember if they still make the LCD, or I guess the OLED panels for Apple. I know at one point they did shift vendors for that, but I know Samsung did make their panels, if I'm not mistaken, for quite some time. But I'm pretty excited. I don't know if I'm going to buy it yet, but again,
what are we talking price wise? What is it looking like?
I think they're saying the initial base price for one of them is going to be like $649, so $649.
Oh, okay. I was expecting, like, if it's an iPhone 12, I'm thinking like.
Well, that's the base, So obviously,
what does that mean? What does that mean?
So when I say base, that's actually the base for, I think, for like the 6.1. So like for me, I only have the 10R, which is now 2 years old. But this is last year they came out with the iPhone 11, and then this year you're going to have the iPhone 12, but there's a different sizes. So clearly the larger size I know is going to cost more money, and usually there's one that's going to have more cameras than the other, and a couple more functionalities that maybe the $649 price point iPhone won't have. But either way, I usually get really excited around this time of year because I geek out, and I love watching the events and just seeing what they have to offer. Granted, I do like Android too, so it's not like I only like just Apple. It just happens to be I've had Apple iPhone for at least the last 7 years, at least. But I'm pretty excited. So, because you have an iPhone too, don't you, brother?
I do have an iPhone, but I am nowhere near you guys. I'm like 12 like models behind, like preferably, because for me, a phone is. I mean, it's great to have the latest anything, but if the phone still works the same, then why bother if it still works? For me, this is just how I feel about it. But I'm at the iPhone, I think 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. Yeah. So you're a little bit behind, but it's okay. It's still functional, so that's all that matters.
And it's a huge phone. It works fine. I have no issues with it. But yeah, I think eventually at some point in the not so distant future, I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade. But
just not today.
Just not today. And just preferably, I like my phone. I have a lot of things saved on there, and so yeah, it's been interesting. So
good. Well, yeah, stick with your phone. You don't need to get a new
He's
one.
like, stick with your phone.
Stick
Fine,
with what
don't
you
get
have.
the new phone, dude.
Right. I'll just brag if I get the new one,
Right, exactly.
I'll just brag.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man, you know what I heard the other day? I was reading an article about people that have a fear of clowns.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Did you not tell me something? What's going on?
No.
Did you have like a fear of clowns that you didn't tell me about?
I probably still do have a fear of clowns,
Do you?
So I haven't seen one in a minute, so I don't know what my reaction would be, if one just walked up on me.
What is it about a clown that's like weird? I say more weird because we're grown now. So it's like, I'm afraid.
Right, exactly. I think it's just, I don't know what it is. Like, since I was a kid, I've never been into clowns. Actually, I got a funny story when we were living in, I think I was 5 at the time. We were living in California, and I feel like we were at McDonald's. We were at some restaurant. I don't remember, but I was sitting there enjoying myself, and this clown comes out of nowhere, and I just lost it. I started crying. I started.
How old are you?
5. I think I was like 5 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, and I started trying to run from him, and I remember my mother, apparently he saw me crying, and I guess to him that made him think, well, let me keep coming to this kid, because apparently he likes me. And he kept coming at me, and it was like, okay, I was losing it. My mother eventually said, just get out of here.
Oh, my Lord, bro.
Leave him alone, because
I could imagine that's like.
She lost it on him. She's like, he doesn't like clowns, okay?
And he's starting not to like you personally. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't know what it is, brother. Like maybe it's the makeup. Yeah, I'm not a fan of clowns, and obviously even around this time of year with Halloween, you never know what mask, a clown mask. What is it? I think that was the clowns one.
That's the one. I think that's the one that ruined it for everybody. Yeah, to be honest, I think that's the one that did it. You know, what's interesting is that they actually have like a really like a scientific. I think according to science, they figured out what's the reason behind the fear, at least from my understanding. But I think the proper term for it, from the scientific term for it, of it, is called coulrophobia. Coulrophobia.
Never heard of it.
It's a word that I don't say often, so I'm doing my best.
I don't think there's a conversation where we're having. You're like, you know what? Let's talk about coulrophobia.
Yeah, and I think it's just defined as the fear of clowns. I actually found an article on it. Like, it was an interesting section of the article that I found, and I guess according to the Reader's Digest in Canada, this is some French name, Valérie de Coville Nicole, a professor in the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at Concordia University. It says that this may be because clowns, by their nature, are designed to unsettle. So they deviate from social norms in almost every respect, breaking all the rules when it comes to acceptable behavior and appearance. For me, that's interesting because you think about that. That's the first thing you just described to me based on your story. You're very unsettled. You wanted to cry. You were not used to unsettled. It. And I thought it was, I think that's very interesting. I have to say, honestly, if I may be honest with myself, I have never had a fear of clowns in particular. Like, you know.
Well, thank goodness for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I know some of my family members had it, but I'm not going to get into that. But some very notable people too in the family. But yeah, we won't put them on blast today.
No.
But, so yeah, basically, I think that's interesting. I guess, you know, on the appearance, what they were basically saying was that the instability of this character, of this being that's with white skin, painted skin, crazy hair, a big nose, big feet, and you know, these weird, like, unnormal things. I guess they're saying that it's sort of like a therapeutic way of helping you to overcome a type of fear that you may have. And let's see. Let me just double confirm that in the article that I went over. So it says, yeah, okay, here. It says the clown turns the world upside down, and it shows up. It shows us what's taboo, what we are defending against emotionally, and what we're repressing. So I thought that was pretty powerful because we do, you know, in many ways, in our own individual journeys, have things that we're repressing. We have things that we're oppressing. We have things that we're struggling with mentally that we may not be able to kind of let out. And so I think if you put yourself in an awkward situation where it's these little things are triggering those things to come out, I think that's pretty crazy, to be honest. And the fact that science is talking about it now, I think, you know, it's pretty awesome. It's kind of interesting to me. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. It doesn't change my fear of clowns, but
I mean, I was trying.
Clearly, we're on the opposite side of the spectrum when it comes to clowns. You got someone who doesn't fear them.
You said, "Well, I don't care." You said a lot of things, Nelson.
You see, I was quiet. I was just trying to figure out whatever you read. I was like, maybe this will help me. And when you got done reading, I said, no. I still don't like them.
Yeah.
Not my jam.
I guess everybody, in a sense, has their own way of dealing with things in a therapeutic way. And so,
absolutely.
Speaking of that, you know, I guess switching up a little bit. I don't think I don't want to talk about clowns anymore. I think
I'm done, because if you keep talking about it on this podcast, okay,
yeah,
you're gonna see the screen go blank, and I'm not gonna be there. So.
It happened. No. Yeah. So what is it like? If you could say anything that's therapeutic for you, like that's something that, you know, kind of helps you get through things in life. And what's therapeutic for you?
Absolutely, I would say the first thing that comes to my mind is music, and I only say that because music has just been the lifeline of who I am. And
nice.
Clearly, when we met at 12 years old, that just took my journey of loving music to a whole nother level, because we learn from one another, and singing and competing against one another. And
we never competed. Well,
right, exactly. Right.
It was very friendly.
I couldn't get it out quick enough. It's a friendly competition, but music has, and it still does. It's helped me, just through my journey of life, to where it's like, I know it helps a ton of people, but I would say even at times where, I could be feeling down or whatever, just me singing or just listening to music. Typically I'm going to sing, because that's just part of it. I can listen to music and not sing, but it's a rarity, because normally if I'm listening, I have to sing. I can relate. I know you can relate. But yeah, I would say that is my therapy. And
nice.
Even comedy, I think, even for, I guess technically just another therapeutic element that helps me is just laughter and just.
You heard of that comedian Joe Coy?
Oh yeah, he's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, I literally live on his Instagram feeds, man. Oh, this guy.
I haven't checked out his Instagram though. I gotta check that out. I haven't checked out his Instagram.
Man, he is so funny, dude. Like it makes me. I think what makes me laugh is the fact that his humor is very similar to ours.
Right.
But he has a very talented way of bringing that out much better than we do, in the sense, because he's a comedian, of course.
Yes.
But he just doesn't care. He just says whatever is going on. And I like that he, really just gives us the opportunity, in a sense, to get to know his character through his life experience. And I think that really translates well, makes you want to learn more about him. So
absolutely. And the questions came to my mind, so I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you. So, what is kind of your therapy, or what's therapeutic to you?
Yeah. So, music is definitely a big portion of that therapeutic healing, so to say, for me. But there's many things. So.
Oh yeah.
I love flying. I went to flight school in Seattle, actually. I really just had a really huge passion for flight. And so in 2010, I decided to go to flight school to learn how to fly. So I just made it to the private pilot level. And yeah, I just fell in love with it. I was like, yeah, I want to go commercial. I want to do all this. I want to do that. And I'd never really I just wasn't able to finish, because, just life happens and things like that. But I made it to private pilot, and yeah, I love it. Flight is one of the most therapeutic experiences for me, in a sense. But then there's music. Music for me is really, really the hot spot in terms of how I get through life on a mental, spiritual, just overall human being level. And yeah, for me, I've been doing music since 99, and
long time, brother.
Yeah, you were there to witness those parts of my life where we're putting cassette tapes and dubbing. Don't talk, man. You can't talk. The microphone's on, Devin. What do you do? Oh, we got to do it again, don't we? Damn it, I got to get another tape. Remember that? We're dubbing, remember? We call that the dub.
Yeah. We call that the dub. Make it sound like it's a dance. It's like, we call it the
dub. Yeah, we were like in the basement. I remember. It was a big basement. Remember back then?
Yeah, I remember.
It's crazy. And then we had that little room in the corner. Then we put all of our favorite artists on there. Drew Hill, Boyz II Men. Yep. And then we had the big, shiny, bright, bing, bing. It's like, blinking lights at you. Like, it's almost like that damn thing was talking to us. Are you ready to record? It's just like, remember that thing? That thing was like a snowball. Like, are you ready? It was crazy. It was really crazy. But yeah, that for me was really, really a very beautiful time. And I think we learned, most importantly, the fundamentals of what it is to sound like on a recording. I think that was a very, very beautiful moment in both of our lives.
The beginning phases into a whole new journey. So,
absolutely.
which I actually, that just made me think. So, because when we're speaking about music, look, you know
Here
me. All right, a question pops into my mind every time when we're talking. It makes me think about your musical journey.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, since '99, that's a long time, brother.
Long time.
To be making music, and continuing to get better throughout your journey, which you're still doing, each day, where you can try to learn something new and perfect a new skill. What would you say, because you did mention on our previous episode how you were signed to Bad Boy. And I'm just curious, as your brother, as your friend, man, how did you, what was the road to getting signed, to Bad Boy, or even more or less, what was the process? Because I know there was a lot that went into that.
Right, definitely. And I don't think we really talked a lot about that, to be honest. So I think that's a good question to bring up.
Honestly, we haven't.
Yeah, I think
not purposely done, but it's just not anything we ever sat down and had a conversation of how, because I've always wondered, like, man, I never got it, because you were so busy, and as they say, life happens, and sometimes you don't get the opportunity to sit down and ask those questions. So I guess here's my opportunity now.
Sounds good, man. So yeah, I think, first of all, great question. And to just I'm just trying to think where to start with that, because again, that started back in '99, and when I fell in love with the ability to record, everything. Devin, what, stop talking. Not that you were talking all the time, but we didn't know. We were learning. And I think you even got on me a couple of times. Nelson, what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
And we didn't
at that time, it depended on my mood, because I was playing GoldenEye, so playing 007 GoldenEye.
What is this?
I would say, well, just give me a minute. Let me play 007, and then I'll come back and record. So it was like my mind was in two different places.
No,
right, excuses.
No, I'm just playing. So anyway, just to get to the point, like basically after '99, I really took music seriously, and I continued on. Imagine after '99, we moved back to the lower 48, and for those who don't know what I mean, Alaska is not in the lower 48; it's Alaska, and so you have to travel back into the normal, United States, so to say. And so basically, when I traveled back to the United States, we went from We went from Alaska all the way to Florida, and so that was a big jump. And I had a lot of opportunities to kind of do a lot of auditions, and I just started trying different things, different talent shows, and I just started really, really, really diving deep into the musical process, and what it takes to become a singer. And I learned so many things being in different young teen groups, to learning about songwriting, to after moving out of Florida, I ended up going back. It's an interesting story. Believe it or not, I don't think I've ever shared this with you, Devin.
No, tell me.
I went from going to Florida at the age of 16, and I ended up flying to New York, and I was even considering moving there to go to school there, I didn't know that, to pursue my music career. And it was great. That was my first time in New York, recording professionally. Not my first time in New York. Obviously, I'm from New York, guys, but it was my first time actually recording in a professional studio, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences I could ever imagine. You're in a big room full of buttons. You feel like you're in a spaceship for some reason. It's weird. I can only imagine. Yeah, it's interesting. Especially if, the first thing you think about is like, what does this button do? Oh shit. Okay. You think about it. What does this do? What does that do? And it's you become very curious to it, and from every process of it. So, long story short, just fast forwarding a little bit here, I went from going to New York, deciding, okay, you know what, let me finish high school first. Let me continue to develop my skill set, and let's see what happens after high school. So at high school, I was offered quite a few musical opportunities in terms of like going to school to be a musician, going to get a degree in music, and then being offered the possibility to go back home to New York to work with a camp who's very successful. And so yeah, I said, at my senior year of high school, I decided, let me try to decide what it is I want to do. Do I go to college, get my university degree in a degree in music? Wait, that's cool. Or do I take an opportunity of a lifetime that's never promised and is very time sensitive in my opinion?
Absolutely.
And so I decided, you know what? Let me try. I'm gonna go for it. You never know unless you try. And I think we've all heard this before, Devin. You've heard it, I've heard it, and whoever's listening right now has probably heard it as well. So it's for me, it was a very like pivotal point in my life where I would say I have to do this. And so I ended up going to New York. Mind you, my family, my grandparents, all my family's in the Bronx. So I ended up moving to Brooklyn, actually. Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, Nevin Street. It's like the 2 train or something like that. You go there, Brooklyn is beautiful, by the way. Brooklyn is absolutely beautiful. It's one of the biggest boroughs of New York. And it goes deep. It runs deep. And once you're there, you're like, man, this is just such a diverse vibe here. There's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of independent artists. There's a lot of like free-spirited individuals. I love Brooklyn. Brooklyn is absolutely beautiful. It's how we say is dope, right?
Right.
And no, let's not hold back. This is the urban culture, guys. We're educated, but at the same time, we know when to be urban when we need to be. So this is what it's all about.
Absolutely. some people call it ebonics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, for me that was a great experience. And when I met this team, Devin, it was absolutely crazy. I'll tell you the story. You're gonna lose your mind, right?
Yeah, no.
And I've never told you this before, and I was actually waiting for a point to share this with you because I already had in my mind I'm gonna do a podcast with my best friend at some point, and we got to talk about this openly. So
yes, let's do it.
My first time going to Brooklyn, I had my book bag on, I had my suitcase, I was ready to go. I just got off the Amtrak. Remember the Amtrak?
Oh yeah, still around.
Right into Penn. Yeah, it's still there. Look at me. It's been so long. It feels like since I've been home. Got off at Penn Station. I had my former executive producer meet me there, and we went straight over to Brooklyn. And I remember going into this building. I see this really tall building. It was like a brownstone or something like this. And man, I remember walking into this place, and I'm like, okay. I guess we're going into a studio or something like this. I don't know. You walk in, you walk up the stairs, make a right, see the first floor. And then you look to your right, and there's like freaking 4 levels up, and it's one building. It's one place. It's somebody's house.
That's crazy.
So I'm like, whoa, I was like, man. So, and I hear music all the way at the top level. So then I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm just playing it cool, whatever. And my former executive producer, I won't mention his name just for privacy reasons. And, he said, hey, yeah, let's just go upstairs and wait in the first floor. And then you're going to meet my good friend. He wants to meet you. I said, all right, cool. Sure. So go up there, second level, beautiful. Everything's just fresh, man. You got a beautiful, beautiful leather couch. Everything is it's luxury in there. The vibe is like 100.
I feel like I'm there right now. By the way, I'm taking all this in. So
yeah, exactly.
You're doing a good job of painting the picture.
Okay, cool, perfect.
Yes.
So I go in there. I'm waiting. Sitting on the comfortable, beautiful, comfortable couch, and this guy comes down and he said, "Hey, what's up? I'm so and I said, how's it going? I'm Nelson." And he's like, okay, yeah, I heard about you. He says, how old are you? He asked me how old I was. At the time, I was like 19, 20. And I said, all right, yeah. I'm 19 years old, going on 20. He's like, all right, cool. He says, can you sing something for me? I said, sure. I think I have the song for you. So I think about, okay, what can I sing right now for this guy?
And like on the spot.
On the spot. And I'm trying to keep it quiet. I was actually really nervous. He's like, I said, yeah, I think I have a song, actually. And I was Sweet Lady from Tyrese.
Oh, okay.
I said, let me just sing a couple of lines for you real quick. And it's so, this is exactly verbatim what happened. It was such an organic story, Devin. It was insane, dude. And so I start singing, sweet lady, won't you be my sweet love for a lifetime? I'll be there when you need me. Just call and receive me. I think I sang up to that point at some point, right?
Yep.
And I kid you not, I was like shaking. I was like, oh, damn. I didn't even know who this guy was yet, but he just had a presence about him that was really dominant, and not dominant like in a weird way, but like he was just more like he had
a presence
of importance, important presence. And like he's, you know what I'm saying? Industry guy, music industry.
Yeah, I would have been nervous too. So
yeah. So
definitely would have been nervous.
He's like, yeah, very nonchalant, poker face. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Like,
it's almost like an interview process where you don't know,
literally.
You don't know if they like you or not. And you're like, okay. And then you start questioning yourself, like, could I have done better?
Exactly.
Know? Or did I not do my best? Like,
exactly. So he's just like this. You ready for this? He's like, yeah, sounds good. That's a good song. He says, can I tell you something? I said, yeah, go ahead. So yeah, I wrote that song.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I promise you.
That's crazy, bro.
I promise you. So yeah, I wrote that song. I work with Boyz II Men. I work with Brian McKnight.
That's crazy. I'm cheesing already.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's exactly what happened. He says, I actually wrote that song. Co-wrote the song with another writer. I was like, well, if that's not fate or meant to be, I don't know what the heck is, And so yeah,
I'm telling you, brother.
Yeah,
that's absolutely right. I've never heard that story. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm I'm visual, so I'm
sure
visualizing exactly what you just said and being in that moment and yeah, just taking that all in. But that's wild, brother.
Yeah, and mind you, like before that I was, as you know, a military brat. So we went through this whole process, and I decided, I don't know where I'm going to be next. Let's go ahead and just finish high school. Then when I hit 18 years old, 19 years old, I'm on my own, and we call it a day, and just see where life takes me, and what worlds I can explore from a musical plane, excuse me. And so yeah, that's when it all started. And literally, for me, that was just like, when I heard this man say that, I said, okay, I guess I'm home. This is where I need to be to experience what they call in the music industry bootcamp.
Okay.
And this is a term often used for an artist that hasn't yet been developed or polished for major record labels. And I don't think it's like there's like an official like document or certificate you can get from this, but this is just how it's always been in the music industry. You go through these boot camps, and they start presenting you to majors. And so 11 months in, I think I recorded over 300 or 400 records, just grinding. And
wow.
Meetings were scary. Like meetings were scary. So
give me, and again, I'm just, again, as I always say, soaking up what you're telling me. I'm a sponge. So
sure.
Give me an example of like meeting being scared. What would be one of your meetings about? Is it about your records, or is it about the timeline of your album coming out? Like what?
Right.
What would those meetings, or just, and again, just kind of, even if it's one meeting, what would those meetings be about? Yeah.
So basically, I'll go back to the first meeting just because there's many meetings.
Yep, I'm sure. That's why I say even just one that stands out.
I remember out of all 15, 20, 30 meetings that I did, I remember 3 of those meetings.
Okay.
And I'll definitely share those really quick. First meeting was an absolute disaster. Okay, I was interesting enough. My former executive producer didn't know in the beginning that I was a guitar player or in the process of learning guitar. Mind you, guys, this is in 2004. Okay. I just literally started learning the guitar. And I was like, I'm going to try my very best to get this guitar up to speed because I love guitar. I love piano. I was already playing the keys at that point, and I just wanted to really just perfect something and just continue growing as an artist.
Yeah.
And I promise you, I remember I was sitting in the second floor. It's 4 floors. I was sitting on the second floor, not the third. Yeah, second floor. And they had a guitar on one of the couches, so I started playing. Mind you, my former executive didn't know I played. So he's peeking down, but I don't know that he's looking at me playing the guitar and singing. And he comes down, frightens me. He's like, "That's it." I was like, "Oh." I said, "Oh, I got free. She shook me. I didn't even know anybody was listening to me." And I was like, "What? What's going on?" He's like, "That's your niche. That's your niche. That's what's going to be your thing. That guitar is going to be your thing. You need to learn that guitar." He got so excited. He said, "You know what?" He says, "I'm going to put you together with a phenomenal guitar player." There was this Italian guy. I'm not going to mention his name out of privacy, but really good friend of mine to this day.
Yeah.
He actually commented recently on my single that just got put out, like a brother to me, and a phenomenal. This guy, when I tell you, phenomenal guitarist and pianist. Okay, classically trained, reads music straight from Italy, and one of the most talented guitar players I've ever had the opportunity to work with. Alongside my man, another world-renowned bassist. His name is Taurus Mateen. I can mention him because he's been he has a very famous jazz band trio called the Bandwagon, and so phenomenal bassist. I was trying to learn everything, man, and so shout out to Taurus Mateen. Hope you're doing well out there, and I haven't spoken to him in a while, so I definitely got to reach out to him soon. But yeah, I had the opportunity. I had these classical musicians, like classic minded and just out the side of the box musicians, and with many more years of experience than I did. So I literally had to become a sponge, and I was taken from both of them. And it's like, damn, I gotta, I gotta learn this guitar quick. I gotta get up to speed. And the reason why, and this is getting to the next point, is the reason why I didn't bring it up is because former executive producer was like, "Yeah, we got a meeting in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. You got to learn 4 or 5 songs. We got to have a small show ready to go." And he's just like pumped, which I was excited for, but I was also shook at the same time because I'm like, "Damn, dude, I've only been playing for about a year, 2 years, if that, And so I had to figure it out, man. And so long story short, we ended up going to this meeting. The people that were at that meeting was some pretty heavy hitters. Like you had the head of Motown, Kadar Massenberg. You had Monty Littman, head of Universal at the time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You had, and then followed by that, you had so many major A&Rs and executives. It was like the guy's office there was a mini stage in this executive's office.
Wow.
So you could perform in there, like a small mini stage where you perform. That's crazy. And I was shook. Mind you, I didn't.
I'm sure you were.
Yeah, I didn't freak out. I didn't in a sense where I forgot words or something like that. But I did not show a certain level of confidence that would deem me ready to be a star. And so I never forget it, man. I'll never forget it. It was the most. I remember we started the meeting and I started performing, started singing on the guitar and stuff, and then people are walking in late to the meeting, and then I'm stopping. And I'm just like, should I start over again? I never forget this, man. And mind you, I've never done this before, so imagine how frightened I am that I have the head of Motown in there. I had the head of Universal in there, and I gotta show them that I'm the star. What I learned later is what I should have done if somebody's coming late to your show, you put them on blast. You go sing to them directly. Put them on the spot. Like, why are you late? By not saying why are you late, you know?
Right.
You sing to them directly and you show them, hey, I recognize you in the room. This is my show. Welcome. And this is something I learned over time, but I wasn't, you have to learn this.
Right. You didn't know then. It comes with time.
You have to develop the experience. And for me, that was really frightening, man. And so yeah, that meeting was terrible. We didn't get the deal. And I got screamed on.
Didn't seal the deal on that one.
Yeah, dude, I got ripped apart for that, man. It was. Yeah, let me tell you something about the music industry, Devin. The music industry it could be it's like hot and cold, man. You got people that are in the industry that will scream on you. It's their life. There's a lot of money on the table.
Yeah.
So if you don't have going into this tough skin, then prepare yourself for a journey of a lifetime. And, for all those that are listening right now, guys, this is some real stuff here. Like, you have to be ready mentally and spiritually to deal with these hits, because they're going to be people that are going to try you if they sense any form of vulnerability, and you have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
And I know we talk about that a lot on the show when we conversate about the word vulnerability. Yes. This is what it's all about. And I think this is why we're doing this even more so. It's like to just showcase who we are as people.
Absolutely.
And without worrying about any spots or any, scars that we, really that are going to embarrass us. We just are showing who we are. And I think that's really powerful. So second meeting, let's just jump forward. Sorry.
No, continue.
Was with, I remember I was in Sony Studios. From what I remember, I was doing some recording. I was recording some backgrounds for a very famous Canadian artist. Her name is Keisha Shante. Shout out to her. Hope she's doing really well. Spoke to her say about 2 or 3 months ago. It's been a long time since we talked, but I was doing backgrounds for her, and we had a few. We were affiliated with her somehow. We're doing a few projects with her, but and yeah. We decided, okay, we're in Sony Studios in New York City, right there in Manhattan. And we said, okay, let's take a break, And mind you, I was always taught you always bring your weapon with you. You always bring your axe. So guitar for me would be the case.
Yeah.
So I always brought my guitar everywhere I went. I always had my show ready to go. And just in case, you never know who you're going to be in front of, especially
preparedness.
Sony Studios. Always, to be prepared. I'd rather be overly prepared than not prepared at all. So we walked into Sony Studios and okay, let's take a break. Let's go grab something to eat or something, like grab a quick bite and we'll come back and see, we'll see where we at with the song. And so I had my guitar, I just had the itch to play, I was like, let me just play a little bit and then we just go grab something to eat and just take it from there. So I started playing. I just started going through the set just in case, just so I can stay fresh. And you never know who's in there. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And so, I'll never forget it, man.
I can see your eyes. You're visualizing, thinking about it. But go ahead.
It was just me and my guitar player, the one from Italy. He was like, hey, let's just run through the show, because he would always accompany me while I was playing, and he made me sound much better, because he know all the fancy crap, and he can just make it sound purdy. Yep. And so he really did his thing to make sure I was on point, make sure I knew what I was playing, make sure if I had a trouble with a chord, he'll just kind of redefine what it is. And like, he got me up to speed really quick on that guitar. And so long story short, we started going through we had like 5 songs. We started just playing through them. And dude, there was a man that came out of the studio B or C, something like this. He was with this woman, and so he starts walking through, and at this point I've learned you don't stop. You keep playing.
Yeah.
Let them enjoy your show. You don't stop and your show for nobody. You keep showing what the hell you do.
Yep.
Okay. So at this point, I'm just playing, and then they're walking by, and I'm just acknowledging them, boom, smiling and everything, and singing to them, hey, I see you, boom. So they walk in, and you could tell immediately he's responding to that, and his wife or whatever. I found out that was his wife later. Until this day, is his wife. Is walking by, and he starts smiling, and he's walking towards the elevator. And there's this mirror where you can see, it's like the mirror's on the wall, but you can see that he's about to walk into the elevator. You know, like you can see you can't see around the corner, but you can see through that mirror, you know?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So he walks I'll never forget this, Devin. He walks into the elevator, okay? He comes back out after 2 seconds. And mind you, the elevator is like I'd say about 40, 50 feet away, 60 feet, something like this. He had to walk a little bit, you know? He literally walks, he stops the elevator, he walks back out of the elevator. I'm seeing him doing this the whole time. And I'm still singing. I'm still singing. Okay. I just keep going. I just keep going. He comes out and he walks all the way back to me. Mind you, it was just me and my guitar player the whole time playing.
Yeah.
Just him and I.
Yep.
Next thing you know, he comes back out and parks right in front of me with this lady. Parks right in front of me. There's another man that joins from another studio that was with him. Parks right in front of me. Next thing you know, everybody's coming out of the studio room. And parks right in front of me. Now it becomes a show.
That's crazy.
So I did 2 or 3 songs later, and he claps. He was just like, that was amazing. I said, oh, thank you, sir. Mind you, I didn't know who he was.
Yeah. Yep.
So, long story short, getting to the point, because I know you're excited for that.
Right, exactly. It's like a jack in the box. You're cranking it. You're cranking it right now. I'm waiting for it to pop out.
Next thing you know, the guy was like, listen, are you signed with anybody? I said, no, sir, I'm not signed. But I have an executive producer I'm working with. So, okay. He says, listen, Chris, do me a favor. Find out what this kid's situation is and have him in my office Monday morning. I want to see him before I take my flight over to France or something like this.
Wow.
And he said, yeah, right away, Tommy, I'll take care of that. And I'm like, Tommy. And then I'm still oblivious at this point, which it worked well in my favor.
Right. You don't know who's who.
I didn't know who's who. Exactly. So long story short, I said, yes, sir. Yeah, I'll see you Monday. That sounds great. Perfect. Thank you. I wish you a beautiful day. So he leaves, and everybody, all the studio engineers that were in the other studios, they were like, okay, that's rare. That doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. And my Italian friend, guitar player, my teacher, he's like, do you know who that was? I said, no, not a clue, man. No, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
It was like back then, it's like you wouldn't even say, well, let me Google him. It's like, no. It's like, I don't know.
He's like, that was Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is responsible for putting out Mariah Carey and many, 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 many artists. But that's the name, one of the majors. Okay. He was married to Mariah Carey, and Tommy Mottola, very, very, very famous record producer and music executive. And this is the guy that was looking at me the whole time. And I had no idea, It's
crazy, brother.
And so that was story number 2, one of the most memorable. Finally, about 4 or 5, 6 months later, I kept growing, man. Things didn't go the way I wanted to with the situation. And I decided, okay, you know what? Let's keep it going. I'm just not going to give up on my dream. And next thing you know, I met with the gentleman that was associated with Bad Boy. He was one of Puff's daddy's executive assistants and friend. And so listen, I think Puff is looking for some artists right now. He wants to sign, blah, blah, blah. Let's try to make it happen. And so, yeah, that ended up being one of the biggest pivotal points in my life, man. I'll never forget it. It was 12 o'clock in the morning. I was in Brooklyn. I was recording another record just to keep the catalog current, relevant, etc. And we were like, let's go ahead and bring this to life, man. Let's just do it, And And the guy heard about what I was doing. Come to find out, my executive producer knew him really well, Puff Daddy, that is. And, you know, he's just like, hey, you know, let's see if we can get a meeting with him. That'd be cool. So Puff just came back into town. He's always traveling, big executive as well. Obviously, Biggie Smalls, you know, 112. I mean, Mary J. Blige, you know, let's keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, list goes on and on.
New Edition as well. I mean, dude, me, you know, me. And,
you exactly.
Crazy. So he was just like, yeah, I think he's free. You know, he's at they call it Daddy's house in Manhattan in studio. They call it Daddy's house. And so I think that's pretty clever. That's pretty fun. And dope ass building, dope studios. Like, it's freaking beautiful, man. Honestly, it's so beautiful there. And so yeah, that ended up being it's 12 o'clock in the morning. I was recording another record for another artist, I think it was for another artist I was writing for myself. So anyway, long story short, we ended up getting a call. Mind you, I done already had like 20 battles in the field, you know, 30 battles. I done stepped in so many other executives. My very first one was one of the hardest, but in between that, I had other executives that I was seeing every day, every other day, every week, every month. And it was just it ended up being an 11-month journey, Devin.
Wow.
12 months. We were grinding.
I never knew that, brother.
Yeah, we grinded hard, man. I never recorded so much in my life. I never sang so much in my life, you know, for people. And, you know, mind you, my only experience on TV was the Apollo when I was 15 years old. And they call I remember
when you showed me that was crazy.
Yeah, we know that as the Apollo. But I think at that time they changed it to Showtime in Harlem. And so that was the change of the name, but it was the same. Kiki Shepard was there, same.
Kiki Shepard.
Only person that wasn't there was Steve Harvey. But anyway, going back forward, that's the only experience that I had in music. You understand? And on TV or any type of public anything, you know. So I had a really small, narrow understanding as to what really was going on behind the pro levels and the major leagues. And so it's a lot of prep, man. It's like, you know, you're training a muscle every day. You're training your mind to be extravagant.
Creating muscle memory.
Yeah, you're learning how to be, and I say this often, you say it often as well, to be great, you know. And I really wanted to be great, so I really worked at it, man, and got better. 6 months, Devin, 6 months. Okay, 6 months forward, backwards. I only knew 2 chords. 2 or 3 chords on the guitar. 6 months I was performing a 5-6 song 7 set. And
that's crazy.
Because I had elite musicians
behind
me, training me. Get this chord, get that chord, bro. I've never, I remember my hands, you know, for anybody that's learning to play the guitar, you're going to go through this first phase where when you play the guitar, the fingers that you're playing, that you're holding the chords with are going to become calloused, because you're holding so much pressure on the guitar so much that the tips of your fingers become numb. They become hardened because of, you know, you're learning different chords, your different shapes and things like that. So it hurts, bro. Like, it hurts so bad. I felt like I was getting my ass whooped every single day.
That's the first time I even heard about that. So.
Yeah.
I mean, about the calluses, not even so much you directly, but just learning. But continue, brother.
Was getting my ass whooped out there, dude, and it was great. It was the best ass whooping I could have ever gotten, because it prepared me up for that moment at that time. So, fast forwarding, 12 o'clock hit, boom, we get a call. Hey, listen, Puff keeps hearing about this kid. Listen, I'm in town. I'm at the studio. Go ahead and bring Nelson in. I want to see him. I want to see who this kid is that everybody keeps talking about. So 12 o'clock comes, there's a car that comes pick us up, a big black Escalade comes pick us up, tinted windows, everything like that.
It reminds me of the show Making the Band. I don't know.
It was exactly like this.
Like, literally, that's what cameras. Like the vision I just got. It was like Making the Band.
With no cameras, bro. It's exactly like this with no cameras. And so then we're driving. The executive assistant that knew him, that came to the studio, he brought like 4 or 5 people. So I literally was rolling with an entourage. Like, it felt like it, at least. You know, it was like at least 8-10 people deep.
Definitely sounds like it. I mean, you got 8, black SUVs pulling up. Yeah, it's crazy.
It was like 8-10 people deep. I had my guitar, my Italian awesome musician producer there was with me the whole time. It was just him and I with our guitars, and and we had this entourage with us. So, and he's like, I'll never forget what he said to me. He was like, "You've been training for this moment, Nelson. Just do what you do now. You don't even need me to perform with you anymore."
Yeah.
He's like, "You're good, but I'm gonna still make you sound. I'm still gonna compliment your vibe. Don't worry, I'm gonna be there for you." I said, "Thank you, man." He said, "But you're ready." And I'll never forget that feeling. It was like all those months, all that blood, sweat, and tears, all that, all those nights not taking a shower for like 3 or 4 days.
Right.
Like just feeling
just
crusty
grinding.
and just grinding
right.
and going through writer's block, going through this whole journey of life, man. Was such a developmental moment for my soul, man. I'll never forget it. And I did feel at that point, I am ready. I'm ready to do what I do.
Right.
And so we pull up in Manhattan. I was like, yeah, let's just go do what we do, man. I wasn't afraid. Walked into the building. And then I started noticing familiar faces. I peeked into the studio room before I walked in, and Jay-Z was in there with Puff Daddy.
That's crazy.
I was like, oh, shit. This is getting real.
That's crazy.
Jay-Z was just leaving.
I never knew that either, man.
Yeah, they had a private session, so nobody else was allowed to go in there. But I peeked in there, and I was like, oh, shit, this is crazy right now. Jay-Z's in there. Fuck. I'm cursing now, guys. Forgive me, but this is what, I want to be realistic when I tell the story to you guys. This is really what I've experienced, and really mind-blowing, guys. Absolutely. Devin, and I'll tell you one thing. I walked into the studio after Jay-Z left.
Yep.
And I'm like, yo, I'm in front of Puff Daddy right now. This is it, man. Like, you can't be. Listen, this guy's a legend in hip hop and R&B. This guy's been in the game for years, and he's put a lot of people on. This is
absolutely, man.
You got to do what you do now, man. This is it, buddy. This is it. And I did it, man. I walked in, took a deep breath, and I said, okay, it's time. So I walk in, and my executive producer whispers in Puff's ear, this is him. This is what I was telling you about. So Puff looks at me, and he's just like, I heard a lot about you, man. And I said, oh, yeah? I hope it's all good things, And he's like, yeah, definitely, man. He said, listen, do me a favor. Go ahead and wait in the studio booth. The studio booth was the size of my damn apartment. It's freaking huge.
Wow.
Not my apartment, of course, exaggerating.
Yeah, no, I know what you meant. Right.
And so, so I went in there, and that was it, man. I got my guitar out of the case, and I said, all right, let's this is it. And again, my friend, I almost said his name. My friend was just like, you're gonna do fine, man. Don't worry about it. You're gonna be fine. Just do what you always do, but now you're doing it for somebody that's really cool, and who has a bit of power that can help you. And
just a little.
Yeah, just a lot of it,
Yeah,
and
right.
So
just a little bit of power.
Yeah, and Puff comes in with cameras. At this time, he was starting to document his whole process, and it was just like, all right, cool. Let me hear one song. So okay. So yeah, no problem. I got you. At this point, I'm confident. I've already have battle scars on my arm, and musical battle scars. You can't.
Right. You've been through this boot camp.
Yeah, I've been through it. Hey, sure, I got you. I'll give you a song. No problem. So I was like, "Hey, you ready? Okay, cool. Let's do it." Boom, hit it. So I see a smirk start to come out of Puff's face. Bobbing his head. He's all right, and I finish the song. He's like, "All right, give me one more. Come on, one more song. Let me hear another one." Very poker faced out,
Yep.
And you learn very quickly not to be afraid of that, or else they look at that as a sign of weakness. You got to really catch that immediately. Don't let nobody ever break your confidence.
Yep.
So, to the second song, boom. He's all right. Listen, just one more song, and then we'll call it a day. So, I think the third song is what did it for him. And do you
remember what you sung? Was it something of your own, or?
Yeah, well, of course. It was everything I sang for him was an original piece, but of course you didn't know that. So,
No, I didn't know that either.
And so the third song is what got him. The third song, this man, it was something about that arrangement that was really, the chord progressions were really unique, very left chords, but very mainstream, very modern. It's been so much, like, it's been so many years since I've actually sang the song.
Right.
But how did it go? It's like, I remember I was mad at you. I remember you were mad at me, but I forget why we fall. We both said stupid, hurtful things that we both didn't mean then. By then, our love was lost. It was something like this. I can't remember the words exactly, but it was so. And I was playing the guitar too, so imagine that, yesterday was gone. And we can't do nothing about it. But by then I can't remember the words. I can't remember right now. It's been many years.
Hey man,
so many years, man.
I turned into a fanboy, even though we best friends, bro. I'd be like, okay, my mom already like, how do I match that riff?
It was something about that song, Devin, that this man got up on the edge of his chair and, he brought everybody in that room. He had cameras in there that was being documented. Like, imagine the pressure. But at that point, I felt ready. And this is why these are the most 3 memorable meetings of my life. After that third meeting, this man looked at Puff Daddy looks at the camera that was documenting, and he was just like, all right. So I finished singing. He's like, that sounds good, man. He said, listen, I'm gonna get back to you. I'm gonna just talk a little bit to your people, and then we'll see what's going on, all right? So I was like, yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate your time. This is honestly, an absolute blessing for me. Yeah. I've been working my whole life up to this point, so thank you for this opportunity. And he was just like, yeah, no problem, man. You have a good day or evening at this time. And so, long story short, man, my man comes out, who was the executive assistant from him at the time, and he's just like, you killed that. He said it verbatim, just like this. You killed that shit, man. Sorry, cursing right now, but he's like, you killed that, man. He said, yo, he wants to sign you, bro.
Damn, that's crazy, man.
This year, he was hosting the VMAs in Florida, and he flew me down to Miami, and I'll never forget him, man. I signed my first record deal ever. At the time, it was Universal Bad Boy, so it was a joint venture between the production company that I was with and Universal Bad Boy Records. So, and all these years, man, childhood, that Devin, why you keep messing with my recording? Stop talking. Yo, I'm in front of Puff Daddy, man, and I met so many other executives at the same time. So, I hope that sort of sums up my story of my musical journey, so to say.
I don't think it'll ever sum it up, but that is true. The groundwork, right? I mean, there's so much, there's so much I still want to know, but that definitely gave me a basis of how you got to that point of getting signed with Bad Boy, because I honestly never knew, like truly, this is, everything you just said, I never knew. That is incredible, brother. Mm-hmm. To go through all that, and I know I always mention this, but to see you continue your journey now, into an independent artist, how has that transition been for you? Because you obviously talk about those 3, key meetings, that got mm-hmm. you. And again, there's so much other things you did in the boot camp,
that's true,
quote unquote, to get you to that point. So it wasn't just those 3 meetings. There was a ton of recording songs that you mentioned, but mm-hmm. eventually you did make the transition into an independent artist, which is what you are now. Mm-hmm. So if you had to compare the 2, what are and I say differences, but what are some things that stand out, I guess, mm-hmm. from being a signed artist to being an independent artist today?
Well, the music industry's changed since then, 100%. Whereas back then, streaming wasn't as popular, if that even existed. So streaming didn't exist at that time. Social media at that level didn't exist at the time. Twitter didn't exist. Instagram didn't exist, TikTok didn't exist, Snapchat, any and everything that we're using now for social media did not exist. I think except YouTube, I believe.
I think YouTube might have been
yeah,
around. So.
Yeah. So we
but
had
even
none of
then,
those things.
It's grown. I mean, exponentially.
Yeah, at that time,
huge.
MySpace was the one, and this is when I had the opportunity to vibe with Ryan Leslie, and I think he was like one of the main people that really gave me the insight in what it is to be independent because of the things and tools that he was giving me. Get your MySpace, get familiar with social media. Didn't know anything about social media. So he plugged me into the early stages of social media and documenting your process. And so this had a major impact on me. And I feel like was really the foundation to really developing those muscles, so to say, to be creative on your own and to be, again, independent. And so
you're already learning at that point.
At that time, I didn't know what I was learning. I didn't know for what reason, because I didn't know that at some point that I was going to be independent. I had no idea. But this is the saying, everything happens for a reason. And sometimes you cannot question those things. It's just like, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And
for
so.
Sure, brother.
So yeah, like, all I had going into that process was my musical influences, like Michael Jackson, like Stevie Wonder, like Al Green, like Boyz II Men, like the Beatles, all just having these beautiful artists, Michael Jackson being one of my top faves, of course, to really help me develop my sound. So how do I take all these influences and turn them into something that I love doing every single day? That way I can really just showcase my best art, my best work. And so it's a big difference of having these influences and taking these influences and making them your own influence of your own for yourself. What inspires you, what's gives you inspiration for yourself, and you have to develop your sound. And so I think these taught me a lot of great lessons about my life and growing up to this point. So having all this foundation just helped me to become confident in my art, and eventually at some point I reached a point in my life where I was like, okay, listen, the record deal didn't work out for whatever reason that is. We don't have to talk about it in this interview, but but it happened for a reason, and at this point I've realized that I'm learning all these tools, all these traits for some bigger purpose that I'm not even aware of yet. I haven't reached that time. That's in the future. That's the future, Nelson.
Took it out of my mouth. Took the words out of my mouth.
Learning all these experiences about the business, that's helping me to prepare for something bigger, because at some point I'm going to reach a dark cloud, but I'm going to get out of that dark cloud and still make it as a recording artist and become extremely successful in what I love doing musically. And so I went through that, man. I went through it. I know what it feels like to go through the signing process. That we call it the honeymoon phase, right? You understand that process,
right? Oh yeah.
And
everything's always great in the beginning.
Yeah, and so
the honeymoon phase,
having that, and then just losing all of it, it was brutal, man. So yeah, I did, Devin. I did lose all of it, but I didn't lose that foundation. I still had those tools in my belt that were collecting musical dust, cyber dust, and
right,
and that weren't being used. I was going through my trial and error, but the whole time that foundation that I learned way back then that I'd forgotten about was still there. And so I was like, I thought about it later. I was like, man, what a freaking journey, man. What a journey. And then just one day dawned on me. I was having a glass of wine, it was fun times, man. I'll tell you that. I had a piano in my room collecting dust. I was like, forget this piano. Like, I almost didn't want to do music anymore, because when you lose everything, you work so hard to work towards something, and then it's taken from you. How do you respond to that with the spirit of optimism. It's impossible at that time.
Absolutely, man.
You know, and I can't tell you the numerous times that I cried, man. You know, it was brutal for me, man. It was brutal because I felt like a part of my life was taken from me, and so just fast forwarding a little bit ahead, you know, once I realized after a lot of self-pity, so to say, I realized that one day I think there was a song I was on and I started singing it. Made me really emotional. I was like, man, this is a great record, man. It's a great record. Can't remember the name of it right now, but it'll come to me. I'll say it if I remember.
As soon as you start bobbing your head, I just always smile. I don't even know what's even in your head. I just start smiling. So
I'm up to something over here.
Right, exactly.
Dude, I literally just I was just like, man. There was a voice in my head that whispered to me, and I'll never forget it. And it was very subtle, very peaceful. It was, you're not finished yet.
Absolutely, brother.
Something happened to me that day, and so I guess I'm not finished yet. The next day came and wiped the dust off of the piano. I started vibing. I was like, God, man, I missed you. Really, it's exactly like this.
Right.
I missed you.
It's your best friend, man.
Yeah. And this is, you know, tying into everything that we talked about in the show. Things that are therapeutic, things that make sense, things that are beautiful, things that give you self-inspiration to become better versions of yourself. And,
exactly.
You know, that all those things, all those steps have led me to the point where I just recently finally released one of my first singles that I could say that's 100% from me. Way to Your Heart. I just released it October 2nd, guys. You guys haven't had the opportunity to listen to it yet, please check it out.
Please check it out.
Yeah, we're on all streaming platforms and iTunes, Spotify, Tidal.
I just listened to it again last night. So, but of course, you know me, I'm listening to, because you're producing and you're writing, you're doing everything. I'm listening to all the elements of that song, you know, in any other song that you work on. Which I guess leads me to my next question. Mm-hmm. What are some, if there are any, what are some challenges that you face as an independent artist?
Challenges, of course, you know, you don't have a major record label behind you, so you're really coming out of pocket with everything: music videos, marketing, you know, just overall promotion, paying a team for all this. This is a business, so I guess you have to find a way to become self-sustained, so that way you're able to exponentially grow.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, you know, you're just hoping that your talent's going to be the bread and butter to help you do that, and which in a lot of cases is the case. But of course, it depends where you are, what the demand is for live shows, things like that. You have to do a lot of homework, and that's the point. You have to do a lot of homework, and you have to do a lot of these things yourself. So of course, it's to become self-sustained independently as a recording artist. You have to have had experiences.
Yep.
That would you know, prepare you for that. I wouldn't even say worst case scenario, but just that scenario, to where if it ever came down to becoming independent, you're prepared. You're prepared, and so yeah, I guess I could say that was, you know, be those things. So.
Got it. So, and obviously, I talked about just listening to your new single and listening to how you produce the music, how you write the songs. So I guess that brings me to a question that just came into my head. Where does the creative inspiration come from? Where does that come from when you're producing music, when you're writing songs, or even, you know, your latest single? Like what?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned prior, of course, my inspiration is, you know, music comes, my family is a musical background. So my father had a great deal in that process for me.
Yep.
Guitar player, piano player.
I know him. So.
You know him very well.
Oh yeah, I know
Singer,
him well.
songwriter. Like he really, I cannot say enough how much he instilled sensitivity, all about being sensitive and all about being detailed and all about like really.
What instrument does your dad play?
He plays guitar and piano as well. And I think he plays a little bit of bass as well, from what I remember. But incredible songwriter. This guy is a melody specialist. Like he dives into many genres of music, from Air Supply to the Beatles to Michael Jackson to Stevie Wonder. Like he dives into so many different worlds, and I grew up watching him do that. I remember when he used to sing to me as a 5-year-old boy. He used to sing to me, and as a child, I remember, like smaller than that, younger than that, he used to just feed music to me. And then when I became of age, one day I said, Dad, I want to learn the guitar. And mind you, I didn't grow up around my father. I was in and out of his life. Right. He was in and out of my life because I was a military brat, and I was raised, as I said in the previous episodes, our conversations together, I got a lot of great things from both of them,
Right.
And so where one side I have my stepfather, who's an officer in the U.S. military, is teaching me about leadership and how to be successful, and really just to push hard, to my father doing the same thing in his own unique, creative way.
Right.
And it was just so cool. I would have to say it was the best of both worlds. And so, yeah. And those are my I would say, from a foundational point, my influence. But in terms of like musical, as I mentioned, those artists, those really helped me, shape my sound. I would even give some love to Ryan, man. He really helped me I would say Ryan Leslie was the one that inspired me to want to produce music, because he was so dope at everything.
Yeah, I would say I remember when you told me about Ryan Leslie. Again, I had no clue who he was, and oh my goodness, I started following his YouTube videos that he used to make back in the day, of how he would start making a beat and adding different layers. I was mind blown, to where I'm still a fan of his today. I don't know if he is. I haven't seen any. I don't know if he's still making, those videos where he was showing you his production process.
Yeah, man, he's an entrepreneur.
Absolute genius. And I was so elated when you showed me this guy. I was like, who? You're like, Ryan Leslie. I'm like, I don't know who that is. And even through your journey, you were teaching me along the way so many different artists, that were going to be coming out or already out, and or producers that I didn't even know about, and obviously even execs that you shared today I never knew about in those meetings and people you were in front of. But it's definitely, I could see where you can say Ryan Leslie has influenced your creative process. So
yeah, for sure, man. So
but yeah, I would say, just to kind of, because I know we're getting to the tail end of the episode, in terms of promoting yourself, again, as an independent artist, how does that look when you're in terms of using social media platform to help you promote yourself? Because again, as you said, no one's doing it for you. It's all done by your own. So how are you using these social media platforms to promote yourself, I guess, more or less?
Right. Well, you have to look at every social media platform as a tool. Like, let's say you're doing construction, for example, and there's certain there's a hammer certain part of the hammer that does one function, and then certain other part of the hammer that does another function.
Yep.
But it still has the same function, which is to slam things and to get things out, and it just serves the same purpose, right? Yep. Just like any other tool, screwdriver, wrench, anything. Okay, yep. Look at those things like social media platforms. They all are designed to do something different. They all target different audiences. They all target, different types of thinkers. Yeah. And so, which again ties back into the audience, right? Yep. But the audience could be subcategorized in demographic, age, everything. So just to be a little bit more specific there, but for me, social media, I had to learn every animal. We call them animals, right?
Yeah, it's a different animal.
TikTok is a different animal. Twitter's a different animal. Instagram is a different animal. Facebook is a different animal. Unfortunately, MySpace didn't make the cut. Something happened there where it became a ghost town. I don't know if you go there sometimes. It's still like a little like I'm like,
is it actually up? Is it still there?
It's still up, man. Even my profile's
still there,
but I can't even sign into it anymore. It's completely ghosted.
Interesting.
It's weird. Anyway, just learning about these. You have to learn these different outlets. Like I think it's much easier now to become successful as an artist and to become viral. Also YouTube. Also, you know, you have Vimeo. You have Tumblr. You have Pinterest. And there's so many.
There's so many avenues.
For me, preferably what I like to use, I like Facebook still. I know it's a little bit old school. A lot of the young generations are not using it anymore, but for me, it's still very helpful.
It's about TikTok and dancing and stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
They have other stuff on TikTok too.
So TikTok, you know, we're learning about that VR podcast. You know
how effective
that is. You know, so
I think my niece told me, I think it's roughly over 500 million users. You know, on TikTok alone, that's insane.
That's absolutely insane. Honestly. So yeah, so things like that, you know, I had to learn these different tools, and so then what I do is I try to stay relevant. I try to stay very active. If I'm in the process of creating something, I'll post a snippet of that, you know, experience with the people if I feel really good about it, and it seems to have been, you know, it seems to have been working really well. Right, currently I'm, you know, maxed out on Facebook. I have like 5,000 friends, you know, that maxed out of, I don't know.
So this you taught me that not too long ago. I didn't know
that. Yeah, and then on Instagram, I have 106,000 followers, you know. I mean, things are moving.
Yeah.
Things are moving. And Twitter, you know, I never wasn't 100% consistent, but now my main focus is really shifting on TikTok and Snapchat, getting more involved in that process because it's mind blowing. You literally have to become a showman, you know, become an actor. You have to become a singer, and you have to perform. It's so freaking cool what's happening in this creative world, and I really wish this stuff was there back then. And but yeah, these are some of the tools I'm using at this point. So. And there's still a bit of learning curve in certain areas. I'll be transparent and say that, you know, you're always learning. And I think if you always keep your cup empty, you'll always fill it with good things in life. So.
Absolutely, brother. And I think it's these are continuing to change, you know, because at the end of the day, at this rate, I don't see I know a TikTok seemed like it was going to go away, you know, I guess that was more some legality stuff, you know, but it's still here. But each one is, as we've spoken about offline, you know, is used for a different purpose.
Correct.
In targeting, I guess, a certain audience, but ultimately you do have a great amount of platforms at your fingertips, you know, which is awesome because, as you said, you know, for your musical journey, none of these things were around back then, you know, so to be an independent artist in this day and age and have those platforms at your fingertips is good. You know, it's more than good. It's great. So, but again, this has been a very good in-depth conversation with my brother Nell, man. And I have learned a ton. And like I said, you know, a little bit ago, I know there's so much more in depth that you could go with your musical journey. And I think at some point we'll definitely circle back. Yeah, and because that's who we both are, you know, musically, you know, I'm always, even though I was never signed and I don't make music on my own, I'm still always intrigued, you know, with anything that involves music, and I still study it because I have an ear for music just like you do, and we're both very detailed. When it comes to music, you know, and just certain sounds and in the way a drum, or, you know, a way a snare hits, you know, or a guitar, you know, a chord, all of that is.
You saw that today in my session.
Yeah, I did. Man, that was incredible. I was in awe again. I was like, what in the world? How are you doing this? How are you doing? I mean, but it was layers, but it was rapid fire of how quickly you were doing it. You know, and when I say quickly, how you would say, okay, well, we're going to record this, and then you stop. You're like, okay, nope, there it is. We're going to record this.
This goes back all the way to the foundation, man. You know, everything I've learned up until this point. This is what I mean when I say there's layers to this. And so, imagine again, over 10,000 hours of flight time in this world, you know, and it's only getting stronger, I must say.
So, no, you are getting stronger, my brother. Like,
we're getting stronger together. Now
we're getting strong, right? Exactly. And you know me, like,
yeah.
Anything you're doing musically, you always have my ear. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. You definitely don't have to pull me at all, because you can just say, "Hey, I'm doing music. Hey, let's jump on a Zoom. Show me what you're doing."
That's true, man.
And I'm ready to rock and roll, because I don't have those flight hours, because I don't have, I can openly admit it. It's not a secret. I wasn't signed. I don't have those flight hours. I do not, at this rate of my life, I still have time, but I do not play a musical instrument. And to see, what these flight hours have done to you, as a musician, is just, and again, you're just continuing to add to those hours, each day that you're creating something new. But it's an incredible journey, brother. And I'm here to say, man, I say it to you all the time, I'm proud of you, brother.
Thank you, man.
I couldn't be more proud of you. Just to see your journey. And again, to look back and see when we were 12 years old, as you say, we're dubbing, and see you today.
That's funny. That's so funny.
Right, it's funny, right? Look back, see when we're dubbing, and your journey. It never gets old to me. And just to continue to learn about, that boot camp era, and learn more about that. I'm definitely looking forward to that in further episodes. But I think, because you did share your musical journey, it ties perfectly into our quote of the day.
Yeah.
And it's by Nydia, and hopefully I'm saying her last name right.
What is it? Nydia?
Nydia Monarez. And hopefully I'm saying that right.
I think it's...
If you want to give it a stab at it, I probably didn't do it justice.
No, it's fine. No, it's actually, it's I don't hear the Spanish name often, and I'm also Latino, so it's Munares.
There you go. Yep.
I could also be wrong, but this sounds good enough to me. So.
Hey, I'll rock with it, because I definitely don't want to mess it up. But the quote from her that I found, it says, follow your dreams despite what other people think, and work towards them every day.
Oh wow, that's perfect.
You literally displayed all of that through your musical journey. And I think, what did you say, in the 11-month period, in making 300 plus songs, and having calluses on your fingers from learning how to play the guitar. And
crazy times.
It just goes without saying. And I think that even ties into what we're doing now, because and I know, and this is a whole nother podcast in itself.
Absolutely. We'll save it for next time. But go ahead.
We'll definitely save it for next time. But how you've always wanted us to do something, a joint venture together, because obviously when we were younger, we were a group, and again, that's a whole nother podcast in itself. But
I think we might even have a theme song we might create for the podcast. We don't know yet.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right. No, it's definitely coming. But this is, again, between you following your dreams then and still now as an independent artist, and now to transition that into following our podcast dream together is just incredible.
Absolutely, man.
Just incredible. But anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think, again, when it comes to following your dreams, you really can and should not, if I may be frank and honest with you guys, not worry about anything anybody tells you. In these types of situations, there's going to be a lot of people that subconsciously, without really meaning to, hinder you from wanting to do that. And so you have to really make it your business to put that fuck it in your mind.
Yep.
And say, I'm going for this because this is what I love. And I promise you, if you do what you love, you never have to work a day in your life. I promise you, I can't say that any more clear. When you do what you love, you never have to work a day in your life. You don't feel like you're going to work, and everything at this point in time becomes effortless. So
it becomes a passion.
Exactly. And passion, in my opinion, and I'm sure Devin could agree with this, brings longevity and a long life of effortless prosperity. So remember that, guys. So
couldn't say it any better, brother.
Thank you, man. And so, guys, thank you so much for being a part of our conversation. This is what we do every day anyway when we're on or off the air. So thank you for giving us this platform to be able to do this. If you're new to this podcast, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. Again, if you're watching us on Apple Podcasts, please do rate us. Give us a nice, beautiful rating. We talk about real things here. We keep it 1,000, and we're here to keep it going. And we look forward to having you guys with us on episode 5 when we get into.
Are we going to 5? I guess
I guess we should go into 5. Huh? Okay, we'll keep it a mystery. We won't tell them what we're talking about yet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So thank you guys so much.
Yes, and thank you guys.
We'll catch you next time. Take care.
Take care.